All right, guys. Welcome back to another Mayday Monday. This is December 2021. We're kind of getting started late in the month with the Mayday Monday. Usually, again, we try to get it out the first Monday of the month, but we're here a little bit later, and hopefully, you guys can get something out of this month's Mayday Monday. Like we usually do, I want to start off by just touching on some firefighters that we've lost since the last time we were together. The last time we did the podcast was November 1st. So since then, 11/2, we had a firefighter from Indianapolis who died of COVID. On the 22nd of November, was a firefighter in the U.S. Virgin Islands was killed in a motor vehicle accident. November 20th, a firefighter paramedic in Illinois was found unresponsive in his bunk. 11/27, there was a lieutenant in Tennessee, died of COVID. 11/15, an assistant chief in Texas suffered a heart attack. December 4th, a lieutenant in Illinois fell into a basement fire and was killed in the basement. 12/2, a probationary firefighter from FDNY suffered a medical emergency. December 7th, a chief in Arkansas was killed in a hit and run on scene of a motor vehicle accident. 12/8, a New Jersey battalion chief died of a heart attack. And 12/18, a Louisiana firefighter died from injuries incurred while he was performing vehicle maintenance. And I think the tire blew and injured him, and he subsequently passed from those injuries. So we want to remember all those firefighters who died in the line of duty. Those are the last ones. Those are the ones since the last time we've met. This month, we're going to focus on, let me get the screen here. This is last month. You guys will remember from last month, we looked at the information, the Project Mayday. Again, a great resource for us. Don Abbott retired from the Midwest and subsequently moved out to Arizona with Chief Brunacini. He has been working on gathering all of the Mayday information, volunteer careers all over, and putting it together and giving us some feedback on what's going on. And please make sure you dig into that. If you haven't seen the podcast, that's great. But instead of the podcast, just go right to the projectmayday.net on the internet and look at all the stuff he's got there. It's pretty interesting, some of the things. I mean, just on that slide there, you can see that most of the time, like 35% of the time, the firefighter with a Mayday performs a self-rescue and is able to get out. And then another, 50% of the time, he's rescued by his own crew or an interior crew. Only 6.6% of the time does the RIT make the rescue. Another one over there on the other side of the screen, it talks about the types of Maydays. And if you look, 21.6% of the time, the Maydays that were listed in that project there was from lost or separated from a hose line. Basics, right? Basic stuff. There's nothing in there that talks about high-rise fires or mechanical advantages, nothing like that. This is all just firefighting basics. And firefighter survival starts with the basics, just like everything in our job. So this month, if you guys back on the beginning of December, we sent this out. This is the latest Mayday Monday posting, and we're going to talk about Firefighter Roy, and we're also going to look at some of the techniques that were used to get him out of the building. Really, some basic stuff. I remember, doing this kind of thing back in Firefighter 2 class back in the 80s, right, where we tied the rescue knot and we laced it through the ladder and practiced this evolution. And here it is, right, where they used it to remove them, and we want to make sure that we're squared away on this. The thing is, right, is that we don't want the first time that we have to use this to be in an emergency. We want to practice these things and be ready for them. So if we do get to them, hey, how about that high ladder rescue? We've all done it, and we can get ready to use it. Killed in this fire back in 2018 was Christopher Roy. Chris was 36 years old. He had been with the Worcester Fire Department at that time about 2.5 years. Speaking of Worcester Fire Department, this month we have joining us 3 members of the fire department there. We got, you guys can see them in the screen. We got Adam. Adam, say hi. We got Sean, and we got Steve. Let me take a couple minutes here and stop sharing my screen. And you guys can, you guys got the mic, all right? Just introduce yourselves. Tell us, how long you've been with Worcester, where you work now, and we'll get started.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Adam Roche. I'm currently the acting Deputy Chief of Administration for the Worcester Fire Department. I came on the fire department in 2004. Again, currently working at the headquarters in Worcester.
Sean Sullivan. I'm a firefighter. I'm currently working at Ladder 6 in Greendale. Just switched up there from working at South Division for 12 years. I came on in 2008. Was good friends with Chris long before he got on the job, actually. So obviously we were 14, 15 we met, so known for a while.
Steve McGurn. I came on in 2010, Worcester Fire Department. I've known Sean Sullivan for a long time. Went to high school together, as well as Chris Roy. I work down at Franklin Street. I'm on Ladder Company 1 currently.
This is good. This is great stuff. I have, as happens with all of these things, right? Last December, we talked with Chief Sullivan and talked about the cold storage fire. Just like this one, I called a friend of mine. I called a friend of mine, a fellow firefighter, and I'm like, look, do you have a connection up there? Same thing here, right? Guy that I worked with in DC, he's like, yeah, call Adam. Adam will help you. And sure enough, he has, really come in strong here, bringing some help with him to talk about Chris and talk about the fire and talk about Worcester. So this is good stuff. Thank you guys for coming on and joining us today. Let's talk about Chris. I know, again, let me get this screen share up there. We know Chris he had only been there for a couple of years, right? Going on 3 years in the fire department. Looks like from everything that Ava was his right hand girl, right? I mean, that's he spent all his time with Ava.
Yeah, he had sole custody, so the mother's really not in the picture, so he pretty much had her solely. His parents now have her, but it's just
it sounds like they spent a lot of time on trips and
yeah, he did. He was awesome with her. Yeah, I mean, he just take her to South Carolina, to Myrtle, to Florida, wherever he could. He was such a good dad. Like, there's no way to understate it. I mean, he got custody and knew what he had to do, and he was just a great dad.
Yeah, so she was 9 years old when he passed.
Yeah.
Have you guys still kept up with her? And
oh yeah. We just, I just saw his parents at they do the memorial, December 9th, in front of Webster Square. So I just saw his parents then. Eva actually wasn't there. I think she had something else going on, but she usually obviously goes to those things. But she's doing really well. Like she literally is carrying his mom almost. Like she's like helped Michelle get past this. You know what I mean? Like she's kind of like, Ma, you got, Grandma, you got to move on. You know what I mean? Like, so she's that strong, like to the point where she's already moved, able to move on, and she knows what her father did, and she's okay with it. She's doing so well. She's just such a great girl. Yeah.
no, I'm sure she's got a lot of cheerleaders up there with the fire department too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Those guys all, everybody tries to help out when they can. So, whenever they need help, his parents are a little older. They're in their 70s, so they have her, and they moved near his older brother, and his older brother has a young family, so they kind of all help each other out. So it's kind of working.
Now, so did he grow up there in Worcester?
He grew up like over by Steve over in Webster Square, and like went to Hurd Street, and then he ended up, his parents moved to Grafton Street, and then he went to St. Peter's, and that's where I met him. We were like 14, 15 in St. Peter's. And then we ended up transferring to Burncoat together, in junior year, graduating from Burncoat, but we played football together all through high school. And, but he was always living on Grafton Hill over there in Worcester, yeah.
So you guys are all like locals too?
Yeah, Steve grew up in the city. Like we all knew each other all through high school. Steve went to South, and we all played football against each other and with each other. And so, then we were all just friends after high school and stuff too. So
I'm local as well, but I think I'm a little older than these two fellas.
yeah, this is like late 90s, early 2000s when we graduated high school. So we're all 2000, 2001-ish, so.
Yeah, that's great. I did 29 years in DC, and we all are like from a half hour to 45 minutes from the city.
Sure.
So it's rare to find a lot of guys that grew up that close like that, and that's pretty cool. That definitely makes for a really tight fire department, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Speaking of the fire department, let's talk about here's some pictures of Chris. He definitely looks like a big smile there with Ava, and enjoyed all that time that he had. Let's talk about Worcester. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Saying Chris is a stud. He was a big guy, real big guy, real strong guy. He was a guy you wanted to be around with. When you're going into a burning building, he's the guy you wanted to have with you. And a couple of stories we were talking about the high school days, playing against these guys in football. It was always a rivalry. We always had a good rivalry together. But that actually was how we all met, was playing sports together and going to school together. And Chris just a big guy and
hard worker. Yeah, like that, you won't find a harder worker. Like even the older drill school guys, when I talk to them, like, how's my buddy Chris doing? When he was in drill school, and the old Joe Gaffney, telling me, he's like, dude, that kid can freaking lift the house. Like he's like he does twice as much work as everyone else, and he's older than everybody. Like, but I work construction with him, with him and Dave Scavone. Like we all work construction. Dave's on the job too, but we all work construction for Dave's father. And the kid he just really busts his ass, to be frank, and just he just works hard no matter what he does. You know what I mean? You just balls to the wall. Just a pull.
especially coming on this job too. It was something he wanted to do. He wanted to get down, like Webster Squares, our special operations companies.
Yeah.
And he fit himself right down in there to get himself in the mix with special ops, just to learn and thrive on this job. And that's the stuff he was doing. He was putting himself at the place where he was going to work, and he was going to do some stuff.
Yeah, when you say that's a guy you want to crawl down the hall with you, right? That's a pretty big statement. That's not like he was a nice guy. That's that says a lot when you add that in there, that he's the guy that you want to be going to a fire with.
Yeah.
Well, that just came with some of our background too. Worcester's a little bit of a tough city, so been in some situations with him before growing up, and he was the guy I always had your back. He was right there with you. He wasn't gonna let you go into something alone.
No, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Let me get back to the screen here and show you what I got for you. So tell me a little bit about Worcester. I mean, I know you guys are like a suburb of Boston, but it's still pretty far away, right? I mean, it's not like you're right up next to it.
No, Worcester is 45 minutes west of Boston, right in central Massachusetts, right in the middle of the state. Population of about 206,000 currently from the last census. And it's a mixture of commercial buildings, what we call 3-deckers up here, but they're 3 to 4 story buildings, all wood frame balloon construction. Single family houses, obviously multi-family apartment buildings, we have a mix of every type of commercial, industrial. So it's a good sized city, covers 39 square miles.
Yeah, is it pretty I mean, would you say it's a blue collar town?
Yeah,
I would
Or is
say
it mixed to that? It's definitely got some professionals.
it's making its move.
Biotech.
We have a lot of biotech companies that are moving in, and a lot of, really a lot of new development downtown. It's actually the second fastest city, the fastest growing city in New England right now, second largest.
So are you guys, the fire department keeping up with that?
So we are making attempts right now to keep up with it. We actually just went to the city manager and the city council just approved increase in our staffing from, right now we're a complement of 409. Within the next couple of years, we're gonna go up to 452.
Is that just, are you increasing staffing on the rigs, or is that just because of like, time off and things like that?
Oh, so that's to both cover the time off and increase staffing on the rigs.
What are you doing now? Like 3 guys, or is
Yeah,
everything?
we have a 1 officer, 2 firefighter ratio. The companies are staffed sometimes at 4. They have 4 assigned, but with time off and leave, contractual leave time, it's typically 2 and 1, which is we're hiring a lot of overtime now to cover shifts. Previous years, we would brown out companies, they call it, we would shut down up to 3 companies per tour. But it's been probably 5 years since we've browned out a company due to staffing. So we cover those with overtime.
And so again, so you're going to 4 people on every rig,
That is the goal, yes,
and that'll be a minimum?
correct.
Yeah, good. It's a shame that it took that long, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
well, it's fallen over 30. I mean, right when you came on, Adam, there was more guys, right?
so no, that's when I came on there about 435.
Okay.
So we're going to increase that up to 452. But the current acting chief, and he was previously a deputy, the city manager, the city council really have been putting a lot of money into updating our apparatus. We used to write on really old pieces, but the average age has come down. I think they've spent close to $10 million in the past 7 years just on apparatus.
And making them all eat once, so they're not.
And standardizing the apparatus as well.
That's good. That's good stuff. What about how many engines do you guys have and trucks? And
13 engines, 7 ladders, 1 heavy rescue. Special.
what about EMS transport? Are you doing that?
We don't do any EMS transport now.
Yeah,
We have the hospital in the city runs the EMS.
Yeah, Worcester EMS and then there's a few private ambulances that also pick up calls. So we obviously respond to priority 3, 2, or 1. It's, every medical, but most medicals we go to if they call for us. So we respond to the medical calls. Doing first.
Yeah, but I see again, you have heavy rescue, you got technical rescue capabilities. There's no water near you, right, to have like a boat or anything?
Oh yeah, we have water. We have a dive team, and we have a boat on Lake Quinsigamond. It divides Worcester from Shrewsbury. I think we have somewhere around 35 to 40 smaller bodies of water that we have another boat that we transport with scuba calls.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have a dive team. We have a rule. We have 2 divers on duty at all times. There's 4. We work 4 groups. There's 4 divers per group.
I got you. Your ship, you're doing 24/72s?
Correct. So
No, 24/48, 24/90.
Okay. Oh, really?
1 on, 4 off. 120. Yeah. We were doing 10s and 2 14s until 2016. We did 4.
Nice. So that gives you a bunch of people too then.
Yep.
All right, good. Let's talk about the fire here. What was the address of this? This is on Lowell?
Yeah, Lowell Street. It's down in the Webster Square area of the city.
Can you see the pictures?
Yes. Yep.
And is this a pretty typical apartment building that you might have?
No, this is a little oddly shaped for what we typically see. It was a firewall in the middle of this apartment. So the incident occurred facing, for your top left picture, it occurred on the right-hand side of this building.
So, yeah, so again, orient everybody here. This is the diagram of the building on the right side. The alpha side's down here with the open porch.
Correct.
And then ultimately, right, they say that the fire was set in the basement or the crawl space.
Allegedly in the basement.
And so to get to the basement on this, how do you get to the basement?
There was a small bulkhead around the back.
Down on the Charlie side, you had some,
Yeah,
and that got you into the basement.
correct.
How much was there apartments down there in the basement?
No, it was unfinished basement.
Oh, really? So allegedly, right, the fire was set in the basement, and then it got into the walls. Is that how it traveled up?
Correct. Yeah, there was a pipe chase, kind of in the center of the building that it traveled up through that pipe chase and into the walls. Like I said, balloon frame construction. So once it got in the walls, it spread throughout. Only on that, really the Delta side though, there was a firewall in the middle. So no real damage to the Bravo side apartments.
Oh, really? Because I did see there's a video, right? There's a video out there. I guess one of the buffs must have shot the video, and you can see later into it, right? The fire did show itself in this throat here, right? And it also was coming out of the Delta side. You could see fire later on in the video. So it was concentrated pretty much on this what would that be? The Charlie Delta quadrant.
Yes.
So when you get that call, what do you send? Like 3 engines and 2 trucks, or?
We do a 4-engine, 2-truck response, 1 truck, and then a third ladder, excuse me, as a RIT company. We send the heavy rescue, and for this incident, we sent one. We call them district chiefs or battalion chief.
Okay, so that you say you get 3 ladder trucks,
Well,
1 is the RIT.
1 is a RIT, rapid intervention crew or team. Yep.
I got you. So that would get you 30 people.
Approximately, yeah.
Good. So when they got there, where was the bulk of the fire that they found?
I think on arrival, they had some smoke showing out of the Charlie side. And I think there might have been smoke showing out of the Alpha side as well.
So if they had smoke, did they go into the first floor, or did they take a line to the back?
Line went to the back and the line went to the first floor.
When they got inside, did they have fire on the first floor, or was it all still in the basement?
As far as I know, it was in the basement and already in the pipe chase in the walls.
I got you. So then it sounded like, right, like a couple of fire came out and cut them out from their exit, a couple of firefighters?
Yes, I think there were 4 or 5 guys that bailed out a window.
Yeah.
On the Alpha and Alpha.
Ladder 7
Alpha Delta corner.
crashing through, right? Ladder 7 made its way through. Some guys got out of the bucket.
Yeah.
And that's where the separation occurred, obviously. It was when the fire cut them off. Guys, they thought they had crew integrity. It didn't, but that's
So a lot
They
of
were-
stuff. And
Tower
Sean
ladder.
said it's a tower ladder. So they were able to pick off a couple guys from the second floor window. And again, what Sean said, that's where the separation occurred. And another couple of the other 2 guys did.
right. And then another guy ended up making contact with Chris, and he thought he was with him. You know what I mean? And then he ended up making his way out, and he said he thought Chris was right with him, and he ended up getting out. And I guess I don't know. From there we're not really sure what happened, but Chris didn't have the energy to self extricate himself.
I got you. So that other firefighter, he came out the back window,
He did.
Charlie.
the same window that they ultimately got Chris out of.
Correct.
He thought, I mean, he even he's like, yeah, I pretty much pulled his hands right near the window, and he wasn't responding to him, but he was with him and then he, so that, and then by then Chris must have been pretty much,
Chris was on one of the 2 ladder trucks that were dispatched initially.
Correct. Yeah.
A lot of companies.
and they were working for like about 40-45 minutes before this happened. You know what I mean? Like guys were on their second bottles. They had moved an apparatus, I believe, like, from the Nash report you can read, he was on ladder 4, I believe it got moved. So it was into the incident a bit, you know what I mean?
It sounds like, I mean, that's typical though with the balloon frame, is that it becomes a pretty much a chase it around the building kind of fire.
Can't get that way.
Yeah, I mean, it can be hidden. I mean, you can just open a wall next to you, could have fire behind it. You don't even know it. You open it up and it's all fire. It hides.
A lot of this thick plaster and wire lath. You
Mhm.
can even miss it with a thermal imager in some cases. So this sounds like might have been that.
But yeah, it was definitely in the walls around them.
Pretty difficult fire for the companies that were there.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Trying to
absolutely.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the firefighters, there was Maydays called, and the firefighters were rescued from the front. The tower ladder got some out,
That's correct.
and then Chris and the other firefighter got separated, and they went to the Charlie side.
Correct.
And when they got to the Charlie side window, the one guy was able to come down a ladder,
He was. Yeah.
and Chris didn't have the energy to make it out.
That's what I believe. Yeah. Because the other guy told me he was kind of trying to communicate with him, but he wasn't getting responses. And but he thought he was still conscious. You know what I mean? But he thought he was going to follow him out.
So he couldn't make it out. Firefighters went up to try and help him out.
Yes. Yep, that's correct.
Did the firefight suffer because of the attention that was drawn to Chris?
I would say they kept lines flowing. They kept water flowing, but the fire was pretty advanced.
Yeah, I see. There's a picture I got down here. There's fire on both floors, right, first and second, and that's the fire in that room where Chris was trapped, right?
It looks like
Did yeah, I get. There's another shot. There's guys spraying water from the ladder, right above the window. So I understand there was some mutual aid that was called in.
Correct. Yeah, any multiple alarm fire, typically when we go over 3 alarms, we get mutual aid from other towns.
Cover the station.
They come in and cover the stations, but I think Auburn, the town of Auburn came in as mutual aid, and
They had a 2-to-1
they had a
device.
2-to-1
So
device.
those guys said, "Hey, let's try this."
Correct.
And then at that point, they how did they attach it to Chris on his SCBA?
I believe so.
Large carabiner, and it went around his SCBA. That's correct.
And then they were able to pull him up and then lower him down.
Correct.
I got you. But
So I mean, there was multiple guys trying to lift him out and trying to get him out. They tried. You can see they tried to saw the window out, I believe, the frame, and so they were, just getting him out with the amount, how big he is and how much weight with his gear. It just it proved, we didn't have the right stuff. 2-to-1 worked.
Tony,
You're on
right
mute,
now.
Tony. Tony, you're on mute.
yeah. How's that? Better?
Better.
So the NIOSH report mentioned something about they couldn't cut through this area. Like it
Yeah.
was there was some pipes or something in the wall.
I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely see that they tried to cut that down, which again, right, that's kind of your plan B. Plan A, bring them out. Plan B, cut that thing down. Plan C would be maybe the rope.
Right. Yep.
Good deal. All right, so let's talk about so obviously he died of asphyxiation. So he ran out of air, and then it took him a while to get him out, right? How long, do you know how long that rescue took?
I honestly don't know how long it took.
In excess of 45 minutes, though, right? Right, at least.
Right. Yeah. That's an did they bring another SCBA in there for him?
I
Yes.
believe they did, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they did get him back. I mean, by then, I don't think he was breathing, but they got it. hooked up,
Yeah, they got him changed over to another SCBA.
Yep.
Yeah, that's horrible. Horrible situation. Tough for everybody. So after that, right? After that, how did you guys I'm sure you launched an investigation into what happened. I know obviously NIOSH came in and did their investigation.
So we had, NIOSH did come in obviously and did their investigation. We started an internal board of inquiry, but then we were kind of told to stop the internal board of inquiry due to the criminal nature of the case by the local district attorney. Did not want a fire investigation to interfere with a criminal investigation that he was conducting.
Yeah, that's tough. I see that they got a guy charged him with like second-degree murder.
Yeah.
Is that has that court case started yet?
No, that's still pending a court hearing.
Yeah, that's horrible. I see that he was upset with like his former roommates or something, and
Not
may
sure.
have lit the fire. Yeah.
Allegedly.
So the Worcester Fire Department, what kind of how did you guys recover from this? Did you identify some gaps in training, some new tools that you needed?
So yeah, we definitely identified some gaps in training. It's less than a year later. I'll give you the whole rundown. Less than a year later, we had another fatality in the city. November of 2019, we lost Lieutenant Menard. So we had a NIOSH report pending from Firefighter Royce, and then we had obviously a line of duty death from Lieutenant Menard. In that year's time, we identified some operational deficiencies that we tried to make improvements on. Started using refined tactical worksheets for the incident commanders. We tried to improve the communication, basically from the inside to command, from the inside to the outside, the incident commander. And then we had the Lieutenant Menard line of duty death, which really, that second one in less than a year's time really flipped us upside down. And since then we've taken some huge steps forward to try and improve the department. We've identified all kinds of both training deficiencies, some of the communication deficiencies we've had. The city manager called for a independent study of the fire department, which we just received back in September. And out of that independent study, we have a master plan and a strategic plan to really identify the changes we need to make going forward. And we're full speed ahead on that strategic plan.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what was that. The ESRI, is that who did the report?
ESCI did the report. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. ESCI. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty comprehensive report there. Hopefully,
yeah.
Hopefully the fire department will fund it or follow through on some of the stuff that's in there.
Yeah, so far we have tremendous support from both the manager and the city council. We had back October 18th, we had about 60 firefighters from Worcester, all ranks, that volunteered to be on committees to recommend changes, improvements that need to be made, from communication to training to chain of command to how we recruit. There are 10 areas of opportunity is what they call them, and we have committees for every area to really focus and refocus the Worcester Fire Department.
That's good. 60 people. That's more than 10% of the job wants to be part of the solution, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Since these fires, we've started really implementing real intensive live burn scenarios. These guys have done them a lot. We've done this year alone, we have a burn tower in the back. The training division has conducted over 410 live burns. And every live burn has a RIT scenario. And it really, from start to finish, the training chief and training division is seeing tremendous progress. And it's basically it's basic hose stretches and basic firefighter skills that they're working on.
Yeah, I like I said earlier, right? There's not a whole lot of technical. There's no advanced firefighting, right? It's all basics, and it's all the basics that seem to get us into trouble too. So hopefully, I think we're all done with back to basics drills. Let's just stay basic, right? We don't need to keep going back to basics. And the whole like thinking outside the box. Let's think inside the box, right? And if we can get those things done, we're probably gonna be pretty good. We got it pretty squared away.
Yeah.
No, I think live fire definitely is a great way to tax, right? Just kind of show our people that this is, while it's I'm sure it's pretty safe. It's definitely raises some stress, gets people kind of out of their comfort zone, and that's what we need, right? Because a lot of people are in their comfort zone, and that's why we get complacent.
Certainly.
That's good. What else? Did you get new rigs? I see you say they made a big investment in rigs.
So yeah, they've since 2014, I think we've close to $10 million on them. And that's just what we're doing currently is just updating the fleet, but we have a plan to just keep the rigs in compliance with NFPA standards, and 10 to 15 years is all we're going to get out of a frontline piece before we're going to try and recirculate those as spare apparatus and then bring new ones on board.
That's good, right? I mean, we all now you need some good rigs for those educated firefighters to ride. Invest all that time and effort into training, and now we need to get them to the scene.
Yeah.
That's good. What we like to do with this stuff is try and find maybe 2 or 3 things that you guys think, Chief, you think that our watchers, the people who listen, maybe watch the podcast, should take from this line of duty death, from this sacrifice, right? From a loss of a really promising firefighter in the Worcester Fire Department. What can we take from this?
Yeah, so you asked me to jot some things down earlier, so I did. I wrote down a few. The number one I have is what we're trying to instill in the firefighters, fire officers, and incident commanders: task, location, objective, right? TLO. What are you asked to do? Where are you asked to do it, and why? It's really focus on those things to make for a safer fire ground, better accountability. The second thing I wrote down, Tony, is match your actions with the conditions, right? What are we looking at? What survivability profiling? We're doing some professional development with that right now, but like really, once we start to get 25, 30, 35 minutes into these incidents, what are we actually doing? What are the conditions? What are the conditions around us? We're putting 40, 50 firefighters in these buildings. We have to really think, what's the end game? What's our game plan with this? And the third thing I wrote down is what we're pushing this throughout our department right now is professional development, right? Master your trade. We're professional firefighters. We're a professional fire department. We're trying to instill that in the Worcester Fire Department right now. That Tom Brady comes to. We're Tom Brady fans up here. Sorry, Tom Brady comes to work first every day and leaves last. He masters his trade. That's how we should be with ours.
Jones. What the hell?
So those are a few of the things that I really think that we're really trying to hit on here and focus and really training, tools in hands every day, and really master your profession. Yeah,
I think, and again, right, nothing in there is a master's level firefighting education, right? They're all basics. I like the TLO. That's good, right? I mean, again, we all get inundated on abbreviations and stuff like that, but that's good. Task, was it task,
Task, location, objective.
location, and objective? Yeah, if you should be able to answer all those, right? If you can answer all those, you're working where you're supposed to be working. That's good. And another one too, we'll take from your previous, from the Worcester cold storage line of duty death. Last December we had, like I said, we had Chief Sullivan on here, and one of the big ones that he got was that commercial or residential tactics in commercial buildings, right? That's one that we've seen in a couple of our Mayday Mondays. And really a lot of these, right, are repeat things that we're seeing, that if we can get back to the basics, it should keep us pretty safe. So I'm gonna go here and look at this. Remember, this month we're looking at the high ladder rescue, and I want to show you, this is what we did. I just stopped by. One of the companies is outside doing this. They did this today, right before I came. Here's one quick view of their high ladder rescue where they were practicing. Again, this is real simple, right? It's one piece of rope and a ladder. There's other ways to do it. I know, if looking at the NIOSH report from you guys and the Auburn, when they came over, they had like a 2-to-1 pre-rigged system in their bag. This is simply a piece of rope that's laced through the rungs up there. It's hooked on with a carabiner to his SCBA, and then they work together. They slide him out, and using, the friction of the rope around the rungs, they can lower him down to the ground. This is what we want you to practice this month. This is the skill drill for the December 2021 Mayday Mondays, to go practice this. If you want to add some mechanical advantage in there, do that. But then we have a belay line on there just to make sure, right, when we're using a live victim or a live rescuer, we're going to use a belay line just to make sure as we practice that. But get out and do just that. Practice these things, right? Like he mentioned Tom Brady. Again, right? The guy's been doing it for how long? 20 plus years, and he still practices. We want to try and call ourselves or compare ourselves to professional athletes and teams and things like that. Well, they're practicing. So that's what we should do, is practice and get out there and do that. Whether it's stretch a line every day, put a ladder up, practice searching your bunk room. Practice this thing too, because as you can see here, these guys needed it. And while we think, oh, we're just going to go up there and pass them out the window, it may not work. So you need to have a plan B and a plan C in place in case those things don't work. So and you definitely want to make sure you practice them. So good. Hey guys, good stuff. I know it was a quick visit, but it's basic stuff, and that's what we want to harp on. I'm sorry for the loss of Chris Roy. It seemed again like a good shining star, going to do good things in Worcester. But hopefully, we won't let him die in vain. We'll take this, learn from it, and make ourselves better, make the fire department better. Any last thoughts you guys want to pass on?
Got a lot of young guys on the job now, so you senior firefighters, get out there, make sure you pass that knowledge out to them.
Yeah, good stuff, right? Yes, there's a lot of young guys. That means that there's still a few old guys. So the old guys, right? Knowledge is important to pass that on, because we're seeing that. I know in my old job, they just had a big transfer and promotion list and a lot of retirements. So all that knowledge is going away. So make sure you pass it on to those coming behind you, so that they have the tools to fill up that toolbox. So that's good. Again, thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And that'll end the Mayday Monday for December of 2021. Thank you, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Tony.